listen to that silence. That's amazing. Usually you can't get that, a group to get quiet like that so quickly. I'd like to start by recognizing and acknowledging the Songhees of Esquimalt nations, whose traditional territories we live, we learn, and we do our work. And I want to talk a little bit about something that happened in this room today. That was a cultural experience. In order to go back to face-to-face meetings, we had a brushing in this space with two elders today. And so I want to just point out that there are pieces of cedar on the floor. You probably saw the sign when you came in, but you might not have noticed there's very tiny pieces and there's very large pieces. And they have to stay where they fell for 4 days. And then we take them outside after the 4-day period. It was a way of us coming back face to face. The last time a board meeting took place in this room was in 2020. So this is the first face-to-face board meeting, and I'm really happy and greatly appreciative of the cultural experience that we participated in today, and want to honor the learnings that we had as we moved through our morning. So I'm hoping that everybody here in our audience and at our table can appreciate that as well. It's really nice to be back face to face. I love seeing everyone. It's good to see people on the screen, but it doesn't have the same sort of feeling. And especially because we're going to be celebrating some of our students, and to celebrate, you've got to do that face to face. So that's the part I'm looking forward to the most, is celebrating the achievement of some of the students that are here today. A little bit more about the room. Eventually, we will have technology that will facilitate a board meeting just a little bit better. We have 2 owls, which is a parliament of owls, there and there, that will be recording tonight's board meeting on YouTube. And hopefully it captures what we want it to. There's lots of testing that went on. But over the summer, there's going to be some improvements that have been scheduled for quite some time in this space, so that we can have facilitated meetings and board meetings in here in a different way. I'd like to have us just introduce ourselves at the table here. So why don't we start with you, Shelley, and we'll just go around for some introductions.
Sure, that would be great. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Shelley Wilton, and I'm the Director for Indigenous Education with the Greater Victoria School District. Nice to meet you and see you, and welcome you tonight.
Hello, my name is Julie Lutner. I am the Associate Secretary Treasurer.
Hi everyone, Sean Powell, Associate Superintendent.
Evening, everyone. Tom Marks, also an Associate Superintendent.
Good evening, my name is Katrina Stride, Secretary Treasurer.
I'm Sherry Bell, I'm a Usher trustee.
It's fantastic to see people in the room. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm Deb Whitten, Superintendent. Hi, I'm Marnie, Superintendent Facilities.
Sarah Winkler, Principal George J, and here is the President of the Victoria Principals Vice President Association.
I'm Carolyn Howe, pronouns are she, her. I'm the representative of the Greater Victoria Teachers Association. I'm also a teacher, a music and primary teacher from South Park Elementary.
My name is Norman Isaac. I'm the president of QB 382 and a patron for the school district.
Hi, my name is Janice Christensen. I'm here representing 947 as our current president is busy doing something else. And I'm an EA at Doncaster.
Thank you, and I'll let you catch the breath on a bit. I'll just go over to the table here. Jeff, why don't you start?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jeff Davis. I'm the Director of International Education.
Go backwards.
Oh, my goodness. Sorry, Mike.
Mike Newton, Director of Human Resources. Hello, everyone. I'm David Rose, District Principal. I'm Vicki Roberts, also Vice President of the Victoria Principals Vice Principal Association and Principal at Blandford Middle School.
Sean McCartney, District Principal of Inclusive Learning.
Josh Parks, acting district principal of information technology for learning.
And over to you, Andre.
Hi, it's Rachel and a big Fox sister, Songs Nation. I'm the student success manager, also a proud member. And I also have 2 children in SD61.
Thank you. And that kind of concludes the beginning, and I just want to just remind people too, when you're leaving the room, to watch out for the cedar. As you came in, we talked about that, but as you leave as well, that would be greatly appreciated. On the agenda A2 is approval of the agenda. I have one addition that is coming out of the in-camera meeting that preceded this meeting. I'm going to add it to G, it'll be G3. And there'll be under public disclosure, and the title is door. So then I'll fill you in on that when we get there. Other than that, the agenda is approved. A3 is approval of minutes, approval of the March 31st regular board meeting minutes. That motion is carried. Approval of the April 2nd special budget meeting is carried. And then the motion to approve the April 8th special board meeting is also carried. There's no business arising, but we have district celebrations back. So A5 is district celebrations, and every month what we hope to do is to, and I know there's a lot to celebrate, and under the superintendent report, Superintendent Whitten does a great job of highlighting some things. But every month we would like to see students here, and us as either members of the board or employees in the district or parents. I did get an email today from our BC PAC president who couldn't make it. So we want to be able to celebrate students. So on that note, I'm going to pass it over to Spectrum for their presentation. Tom, are you going to begin?
Principal Norris is going to introduce you with them, and
Great, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for having us. My name is Aaron Norris. I'm the principal from Spectrum, and it's my honor to introduce these gentlemen behind me, who are members of the repeat provincial champions for senior boys basketball quad A. So I'll go from left to right here, and then I'll pass the mic over to hear a little bit about them and talk about the impact basketball has had for them, both on the court and their academic experience at the school. So beside me here is Justin, CJ, and Tyler, who are all on both repeat teams. And then Tyler Verde, who is the head coach, and James Nicoleto, who is the assistant coach, and they're both teachers at the school as well. So I'll pass it over to Justin.
My name is Justin Ferguson. I'd like to thank you guys for inviting us to the first board meeting back since COVID. I'm just going to share a little bit of my journey through Spectrum. So all 3 of us came to school in grade 9, and the school, the basketball program wasn't great. We didn't have high expectations, and then we made it to provincials in grade 9, which was very exciting. And then we all played senior in grade 10, which really improved our skills for basketball. And then in grade 11 and grade 12, we repeated provincials. And cool story is I've known CJ here since kindergarten. We've been in every class, except for grade 3. No, we're really good friends. I just like to thank you guys for inviting us.
Hi, my name is CJ Zuno, and yeah, my 4 years at Spectrum, I've been able to meet Tyler and coaches, and obviously I'd already known Justin, but my journey through Spectrum, I've been able to understand how to balance being a student and being an athlete with having practice multiple times a week while being able to keep up with my studies. So that has really helped me shape myself into the person I am today, and it should help me going forward into college.
My name is Tyler Phillip. Been playing with these guys all 4 years. Been playing for these guys as well. I've known Justin since grade 2. Been playing club together and continuing to play together next year at UVic. Got CJ and much the rest of the team in grade 9. Lifelong friends there, and yeah, just really grateful for the opportunity basketball has given us, both on the court and off the court.
Thanks again for having us. My name's Tyler Brady. I've been a teacher at Spectrum since fall 2017. Started coaching there 2018. Like Justin said, when we all kind of started at Spectrum, the basketball program was very strong. And the first couple of years of coaching there was a lot of hard work to kind of get it to a place where we felt competitive. You know, we played in like back then it was tier 1, tier 2, played in tier 1 even when we knew we wouldn't do very well. But it was sort of more about building at that point and playing against better teams and kind of seeing what the experience would be like and knowing that these guys would be coming up after that, trying to make our program into something that could really set them up for success. And then obviously, you know, they played senior grade 10, like Justin said, which gave them a lot of valuable experience, competing against older, stronger guys and really let them bond as a group as well. And then coming into the grade 11 year, it's funny, like we went over to Vancouver for a few big tournaments and we had a lot of people come up to us being like, where is Spectrum? Like we've never even heard of it before. They've been in provincials, I think 1990 and like 98 or something. I can't remember the second year, but it's been a long time. So we actually went to provincials, ranked 2nd in the province. We were ranked number 1 earlier in the season, first time in school's history. And then, yeah, shocked a lot of people by winning provincials. Again, mostly with the grade 11 team, which is pretty special. We had 13 seniors this year, I think, which is pretty remarkable to have won provincials the year prior with only 4 seniors and then 13 the year this year. We were a lot more, everyone kind of expected us to win, which puts a lot more pressure, honestly. The year prior, we felt like, you know, no one really expected anything of us, and we won. And then this year we had a really big target on our back, but we dealt with a lot of adversity. I mean, if you guys ever watched our semifinal game this year at provincials, it's very stressful. We almost threw that one away. So, yeah, it's a really special group of kids led by these guys and a few others that have put in countless hours. You know, a lot of teachers have supported them throughout their time. You know, we were away a lot on trips and stuff, and we really tried to focus on academics being an important part of our program. Like we do academic checks like you would in a university or a college, trying to, you know, make sure students are on top of their classes. And honestly, these 3 have incredible grades. They're kind of the highest standard you really have in terms of you know, going through high school. So yeah, really special group and really thankful that we had them. Gonna be really hard to get back to that level, but hopefully we can one day. So.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. I'm James Whitblato. Similar to Tyler here, I started at Spectrum in the fall of 2018, so just 1 year after. And just kind of a testament to not only these 3, but kind of the rest of the team, and it's also some guys that kind of came before. It's been pretty special. The last 2 years, we've had recent graduates from our team that have wanted to come back and give back to the team and to the school and help coach these guys that they were once teammates with. So it's kind of been a cool way for some of our alumni to stay involved with the team and give back to these guys with, you know, leadership and some guidance. And then as well to kind of our men, Aaron here and then Bruce, before he went over to Reynolds and Aaron came to join us. I mean, all of this doesn't really happen unless you have people that are there to support you. So not only our men team, but also our community support's been really remarkable the last few years. And these guys, as well, their teammates have really kind of uplifted the school in a lot of ways. And Spectrum's got a lot of awesome things outside of just basketball that's really kind of awesome to see. So yeah, just thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
I just wanna say something before you run off. Thank you so much for coming here tonight and, you know, listening to the 3 students talking about friendship and balance and hard work and it gave me goosebumps when you said, you know, we were Spectrum, nobody knew where Spectrum was or what what kind of school it was, and you put Spectrum on the map, clearly. And to do it, 2 years in a row without a dynasty behind you, is quite remarkable. And to do it with students that were in grade 11 and moved to grade 12 is even more remarkable. So, I have a question. I want to know what's next for the 3 students.
Me and Tyler, we're going to UVic next year for basketball, sharing our athletic and academic journeys, and then
I'm going to Hermosa for general sciences.
Excellent. Well, so you're staying in town, both of you still continuing on your athletic endeavors. On behalf of everyone here, we want to say congratulations and all the very best. And to coaches, we know how much time this takes to coach a team to that level is unbelievable. So thank you, and everyone else that supported the team. It does take an entire school to get to that level for sure. And I know it's a lot of time away from your friends and family, and we thank you for that too. So well done. Thank you so much. All right. That was remarkable. A6 on the agenda, there are no community presentations or correspondence. That takes us to C, which is my report. And I have a lot to say for this month. I just got back from Vancouver. I was at BC Trustees Association meetings for 3 days. Deb was there for most of it with me. And then the night we got back, there was the horrible tragedy that happened in Vancouver. I just have to say that our hearts are with families that have been affected in the Filipino community in Vancouver. I can't believe that kind of tragedy would hit so close to home, and for such a fun event and such celebrations that were taking place. It's an absolute shame, and it makes you think about appreciating where we live, what we do, and then the children in our district that we get to represent and work with every day. So I think I needed to say that before we moved on in the meeting. We passed our budget last month, which was tough. $1.5 million in cuts is not an easy thing to do, but I appreciate all of the input from partners that we worked with and the community and students. That makes such a difference. Doing this kind of work is trying at times, because you want to see money coming in, not being cut. But we also sent out a survey, and that's in the package, the results of the survey. And we're going to start looking at the budget process for next year really early. At the school district 61 partners table, we will look at what worked this year, what didn't, what came through the survey, and start plugging in what we want to be looking towards next year. I got to be part of an interview process, and it was quite heartwarming. The interview process that I was engaged with was someone that when I was in the school district, I hired, was part of an interview panel when he became vice principal, and officially associate superintendent, Sean Powell. And thank you to other people at the table that were part of a panel for those interviews. I visited a couple of schools. I went to Mount Doug, and as I was sitting in the office with the admin staff, right outside the window, there were students learning how to light fires and light Coleman stoves, which was really interesting to watch, but also a little worrisome, because they were very close, but they were going on a camping trip. walked around the school, they were getting ready for parent teacher interviews and I kind of learned how they do their kind of speed interviews at a large high school like that. I also was at Hillcrest that day and got to hear about things that they're excited about, especially the outdoor classroom and the secret garden. And if you've ever been to Hillcrest, I live in that neighborhood, so I walk through there all the time. And the secret garden over the years sometimes is wild and other times it's manicured. And this time when I walked into the school, I said, where did all those flowers come from? And it's going to be quite a beautiful place for students to gather and read and, you know, and learn. And then there's the outdoor classroom, which is being built in honor of the teacher at Hillcrest. So that was great. I also was at Labyrinth for Battle of the Books. And I remember when Battle of the Books started, it's so much fun listening to middle school students answer the questions on, I think there was 6 books. And the teacher librarians do an unbelievable job. Like, this is top-notch, very serious competition. They come with t-shirts and there's real buzzers now that are actually connected. And but the knowledge that those students had to have and how each team cheered each other on, that was lovely to see. And so huge kudos to the teacher librarians that have put that on for years now. And our beauty's one, in case anybody, but I don't even think anybody really cares about that. I also wanted to acknowledge the National Day of Mourning that took place yesterday for workers that are injured or killed on the job. Every year, that's a pretty important day to just pause and think about just where we are in British Columbia and how that there are people every year that are hurt and killed on the job, and that we want to be a safer place as we can for our students and employees. And Deb's got in her report a few important dates that are coming up, so I'll leave those. I had some of those written down too. So that's my trustee report. And that kind of flows right into the next agenda item, which is board committees. So there's been a lot of work on board committees as well this month. The ad hoc committees, we have climate action, and that committee is so keen to start making a difference that it isn't an ad hoc committee anymore. It's an ongoing committee. As most people know, an ad hoc committee has a set time frame and a job to do, and then they usually dissolve or they turn into something else. And so at our last meeting, the group talked about wanting to continue, and the focus area for our next meeting is going to be looking at a website, talking about what are the kinds of things that we can do on our website to promote what's happening and to get other people involved. Another ad hoc committee is the equity, and in that group looked at the policy that had been brought forward by David and Nadine, who are here, and got a lot of support in changing a very old antiquated policy into reflecting what actually happens in the district and what the belief system is in the district. So I'm really looking forward to that coming to a board meeting soon. The ad hoc committee approved. I took that to the SD60 partners of SD61 group, and they are taking it back to their respective connections, communities, and we'll look at it again. So hopefully it'll be back on to be passed here in June, because it's really great work and the committee was really appreciative of it. That committee meets again in June. The Music Equity Committee, this is the perfect example of an ad hoc committee. They created a process where to look at staffing at elementary and middle school. And at the end of that meeting, the committee will disband and the process will be written up and, the way of, I guess, distributing, FTEs was the biggest, part of that work of that committee. And so now they've got that down and, Superintendent Whitten, will write it up and then it'll kind of go from there. So that's those committees. We've also, met with the, SD61 partners groups, and we talked about the strategic plan. That was the main part of our conversation because it's this current strategic plan goes from 2020 to 2025. And the questions that we were looking at is what's the best route forward? And so we'll be talking about that again. And it'll come back to a board meeting at some point. We also had looked at the policy. We also had a brief conversation about letters that have been coming to both the school, to me, at the school district, but more to the ministry, talking about the support in Victoria for electoral districts. So Saanich and Sooke and most other districts have a way of electing trustees by a ward system or an electoral district. So it's geographically, a map is created and each area gets a certain amount of trustees that can be elected. And so we had a brief conversation about that. The minister has received letters from Songhees Nation, the Esquimalt Nation, View Royal, the group that got it all started and was in the newspaper was Esquimalt Municipality, Oak Bay. And so with that kind of groundswell of looking at that, that's something that certainly the partners group will look at, and they'll, in order to do anything, we need to consult and engage the public in this. But the mayors are certainly keen to at least take it to the next step, which is conversation and consultation. So that concludes the board committee report, and I'm going to move to district leadership team reports and pass it over to Superintendent Whitten. But before she does that, I just want to point something out. Question period, which happens at the end of the agenda, in an in-person meeting, this might be due to folks. People could have sent in any questions they might have in advance of the meeting, but during the meeting too, if there's anyone that has a question, there's paper and pen at the back, and it should come in to the little basket probably by the end of E, which is the superintendent's 4 items. So that would be appreciated. And people at the table, we're talking about a motion. I'll ask you if you've got it before we look at carrying the motion. People sitting at this table will be asked if they've got any questions or anything they want to say before we get to that part. Okay. All right, over to you.
Thank you. So on page 15 of the backup, there is the learning report. You'll notice that there are 9 different exciting learning events that occurred. There are many more other learning events that happened in the district. These are the 9 that are highlighted. Also, as I really want to do is acknowledge gratitude, acknowledge with gratitude, particular people and areas throughout the district that have done exceptional work. In this month, I'd really like to point out, with congratulations and again, acknowledge the work that goes behind the events. Cedarville, as you know, is moving to a new school in September. They have had 2 celebratory events, one of which occurred on Saturday. Outstanding. We know when those events go well, how much work goes into them to have them look smooth and well organized. So many thanks to the group that put their time and effort in, particularly Marianne and Melissa, and also all that attended, former principals, some of whom are here today, and many other alumni, graduates, and teachers from there. So we look forward to the opening of the new Cedar Hill, but also I really want to recognize the building that is in its place right now. Also, we were able to celebrate, can't remember now, I think it was 60 individuals who received youth work and trades, monetary awards. So for the district, being able to see the students come back who are, who have completed their work and trades, what a wonderful event, how meaningful it was to themselves, their families and the district. And again, knowing that, the work of Lindsay Johnson and Kevin Blessick that, go into not only that opportunity to celebrate, but the work and hours that go into placing the students, supporting the students, getting them the equipment they need and helping them be successful along with the community as well. So I want to really point out, the work there. And, we acknowledged Admin Professionals Day last week. So, beside and behind every good leader and every good school is an admin professional who keeps us moving forward, aligning and arranging our schedules and really doing a lot of work to help with successful work environments. So just want to acknowledge all of their work. And lastly, again, as official trustee Bell has mentioned, yesterday was the National Day of Mourning. And thanks to our district health and safety as well as our school health and safety teams for the importance of working collectively to keep all workers safe. And we have lots of things coming up. Some things that I really want to highlight this evening. May 5th, Red Dress Day. Also, May 5th, Mental Health Week. May 12th is a Rainbow Week that we will be acknowledging in the district. May 15th, Moose High Campaign Day. We have International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, and Transphobia on the 17th of May. And Accessibility Week, which is May 25th. So you will hear more about these events as we have moving forward. May 16th, my last upcoming event is Indigenous Education Professional Development Storytelling Festival, and encouraging everyone to participate. Fantastic amount of work that has gone in from the whole group, including Indigenous Education Department, and incredible response so far to this very important 4th annual event. So thank you, and that's my report for the month.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're gonna move on to the 27-28 school calendar. I actually, when I looked at it, I thought there was, I knew one of the days and I thought somebody's birthday, and I went, that's tomorrow, that's not the right day of the week. I had to look it up and then went back and so we're really far ahead here. Well done. Associate Superintendent Arts, do you have anything you want to add besides, we see the calendar and have your memo, but is there anything else that you want to say about that?
Yeah, it is a long way away, and the school act does allow for districts to have calendars that go out 3 years. And so that just provides optimal planning time for schools, for parents, for staff, for everyone involved. And we have worked really hard in the last few years to align our calendars as much as possible with superintendent. So we had some feedback years ago, whenever especially major breaks, winter break and spring break, if their alignment wasn't the same, there was a lot of challenges for people who work in another district or have children in another district. So we are really happy that by and large, these calendars now align completely. There's the odd exceptional Pro D Day. Victoria, for example, has one school chosen Pro D Day.
Right.
Superintendents and Sanders don't, so that these may not align with theirs, but major breaks do. And there's been some tremendously positive feedback about planning so far ahead. I also see 27, 28, I think, whatever, we're way out there, so it is required to be posted for 30 days. We've already consulted with QP, both QP groups, GBTA, BC PAC, principals and vice principals, and that, but now it's to go publicly for feedback on that, and then to be brought back when that feedback's collected, so there's a recommended motion that it is, posted on the website for those 30 days.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments from any of the partners at the table? Okay, the recommended motion is that the official trustee of School District 61 Greater Victoria approve the posting of the following 2027-2028 school calendar on the school district website for a period of 1 month. That motion is carried. The next one is also Associate Superintendent Arts Academy fees.
Yeah, thank you. You will find in the package on page 19, the memo reflecting our academy fees. The general requirement is that any academy that has special fees, that those fees are agreed to with the PACs and then presented and posted publicly. So you'll see we have 4 academies. That is rugby at Esquimalt, Lambert Park has the Diamond of Excellence baseball and softball. Reynolds has the Center for Soccer Excellence, and Spectrum has the Hockey Skills Academy. So the 4 academy fees are in the backup and signed, and happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Okay, I actually have one question. On the Reynolds Soccer Academy, it says that there's a difference in fees for the grade 9, 10, and 11. Grade 12 is about half the price. Could you explain that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, right? It looks at about half. So students attending to the soccer academy in grade 9, 10, and 11 take that for the full year. What they found was that in grade 12, with students in a grad program and trying to fulfill all the post-secondary entrance requirements and grad, it was just too much to do the academy for, so they only do it for half the year. And so that's why that fee is basically half the price. Part of the fee is cumulative again, at the beginning of the year. So that's why it's not quite half. They each get the same cost for the gear, the kit that they get. And then for the field turf rental and coaches, that's the part that's split, and that's why it's basically half the price.
Thank you. And do they all in grade 12, are they together one semester taking it, or is it split?
No, correct, first semester,
Okay.
first semester, and then they have second semester free, which is when grad is happening and all of that. So.
Okay, perfect. Any comments or questions at the table?
Thank you. I noticed that in accordance with policy 6159, the Greater Victoria Board of Education is committed to ensuring that no student will be denied educational opportunities due to financial hardship. Could you give just a little bit of a background on how the district and schools ensure that?
So that's communicated to all students who are apply or want to come into an academy or are accepted into an academy. And there are, so I can speak when I was the principal of Reynolds, we had an academy. There may be times where a family's not able to pay the fee, so we would cover that cost. We would never deny a student the opportunity to be a part of one of these academies because of financial hardship. So those fees would be covered for those students.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions before? No? Okay, hearing none, I will read the motion that the official trustee of School District 61 Greater Victoria make available to the public via the district website the schedule of fees that have been approved by the Parent Advisory Council for the school, where the official trustee proposes to offer a specialty academy. I don't actually propose it, but they've been going for a while, and that motion is carried. All right, thank you, and thank you for that. So do either of those have to come back here after they're posted?
The calendar will come back here and I'll share whatever public feedback there was.
Okay, great.
And then you will officially either endorse the calendar or we'll make changes to it.
Great.
The academy's no issue.
Okay, great, thank you so much. I think we're ready to move on to E, which is Secretary Treasurer's report. We are going to start with the AFG, and I'll pass it to our Secretary Treasurer.
Thank you. I'll just start off with a bit of an overview, and then I'm going to pass off the details to our Director of Facility Services. But the, annual facility grant, which we call the AFG, we require submitting it to the ministry by May 16th. And, this submission, it doesn't require a board resolution, but, we're bringing it here to the meeting so that, we can provide it for information, but also receive any feedback. And, it's a little bit different than a capital plan in that this is our expenditure plan, but there is some flexibility. So if throughout the year something were to come up, we can shift the funds around to address priorities, different priorities. So AFG funding can be used to upgrade or replace existing facility components. It can be used to enhance the service potential of an existing asset or a component of an existing asset. And in correcting deficiencies in design or construction or to address any unsafe conditions. And it can be used to lower the associated operating costs of an existing asset or extend the life of an existing asset or component. So just some examples, upgrades would be for accessibility, electrical, exterior wall systems, HVAC, interior, construction, plumbing, roofing, and even site upgrades, and then also asbestos abatements. You can get a sense of what this funding is used for. Our school district received a total, just over 5.6 million for 25-26. And 741,000 of that is for operating, and that's net of a piece that we pay towards capital asset management system that we use with the ministry, and then about 4.9 million for capital. So this is an increase of 438,000 roughly from last year. And then I'll just pass it over to Marnie so she can highlight some of the items that are in the proposed plan for next year.
Katrina said almost everything I want to say, thanks. We always have roofing projects in the plan every single year, so we have a number of roofing projects again. This year we have a number of digital controls, so DDC upgrades. So that's going to help our energy consumption within our buildings, which will be nice, but it's also an ability for us to actually communicate with the school's heating system, so we know what's going on before everybody gets in the building. We've got a number of ventilation projects at Oaklands as well as Hillcrest, so there's some really old unit ventilators we're replacing. A number of lighting upgrades, we're always looking at that. This is the last number of lighting upgrades, and then we're pretty much done throughout the district. We always have a number of telecommunications, that's our PA systems, our telephones and our network system, we're upgrading a number of those. A few interior projects, so we're suggesting gym flooring upgrade at James Bay. Marla's patiently waiting for. We're also looking at upgrading the second phase. This summer, we're actually doing phase 1 of the student kitchen at Spectrum, so we're looking at doing phase 2, which will be done with the student kitchen they learn from. Lots of interior and exterior painting. Lots of paving. A lot of these paving projects came out when we did the walkthroughs with SPP. A few elevator upgrades and then lots of field upgrades. So it's a little bit of a mismatch of everywhere. Questions?
Great, okay. So the next item here is the this is for 2026-2027 annual 5-year capital plan. So this is what we're proposing to submit for that fiscal year. And we're just bringing it to this meeting as a draft plan. It will be submitting it to the ministry by the end of June. And so we'll be bringing this back as a final plan, subject to any feedback that we receive at the May board meeting. So this does require a board resolution, so we'll do that in May. For now, just highlight that what this includes is what we would call minor and major capital projects. major capital projects are things like school expansion, so increasing the capacity of an existing school, which includes additions. Also seismic mitigation, so upgrading or replacing existing schools that are at high risk, seismic. And minor capital projects can include, carbon neutral capital, so those are like those energy efficiency projects, playground equipment, and school enhancements, so that's renovations and upgrades of buildings to extend their life. We also have a separate funding pot there for food infrastructure, so those are one-time capital costs to improve kitchens or storage areas for the Feeding Futures program. And there's also a capital plan for childcare. We're not putting anything in for childcare this year, but we are for the others that I've mentioned. So for the details, I'm going to pass it back over to Marnie, and she can highlight the 3 plans that we have in the agenda package.
Again, Katrina said most of it. Thank you. I guess for our priorities for our major capital, our first priority is an addition of Reynolds. There's a lot of enrollment pressures that's there, especially with Spectrum being full and Reynolds becoming full. So it kind of works into, we're also asking for a seismic upgrade at Reynolds as well. So it kind of works hand in hand. So that's our 300 seat addition for our addition. And then for the seismic, for seismic, the same as last year, we didn't get any new funding for this year for seismic, so it's the same priorities as last year. A few budget updates just based on what we know. We've really targeted on shoreline as a first priority for a new school, and then the rest of them are replacements that we really focused on schools that had more than one H1 block, so that's the highest priority of seismic you can get. So that's how we prioritize that. And then scrolling down, we've got our minor capital projects. So we've got our CNCP. So we've got a lot of air handling units at Port K that are on their last life. So the suggestion is to replace all those as our first priority. And then our playground enhancement program, that's the PEP. The suggestion is Craigflower to replace their last wooden structure in our district into a new accessible playground. And then we've got our SEP project. So our first priority is to finish South Park's roof, which is in phase 3 this year. So next year we'll be done phase 4, and then we'll have a beautiful roof. And then the school infrastructure program, we're asking for a number of upgrades throughout our district. So we work with a number of people on the team now. Any questions?
Marnie, can I ask a question here? The school expansion, the Reynolds piece of it, what, with that amount of money, what actually would we build?
I believe it's a 6-room addition, so it's a prefabricated addition.
So would it be attached to the school, or would it be separate, or it's not determined?
It's not determined. We have to work on a business plan with ministry and determine what. And we've got one old section, I believe it's in music with their drama room that was built in 2020, and we looked at building from that portion. And then our suggestion is the rest of this would be demoed as part of the seismic new build, but that addition would be from that build on and be about six. Okay, that's right.
And with the other seismic projects that are on the list, how many of them would require a move?
It's hard to say. We kind of looked at all of them, and it's really based on enrollment pressures. If the school is full, there's a potential we'd have to move them, but we've done a lot of our seismic projects in-house with just moving kids in the school. And we work with the principal and teachers. So right now, we're not suggesting anybody. Yes.
Because Lansdowne, and so I was just curious about that one. And I'll just open it up and see if there's any other people at the table that have a question for Marnie.
Hi.
Shelley, go ahead.
Sure, great, thank you. So not a question, but rather just an acknowledgement. So as we've been moving through, we've been working really closely with facilities, and I know that Shoreline's on here, so I really want to acknowledge that because it has been a place that we've been moving through as a school district on reestablishing relationships. And so I think it's really important to critically acknowledge that to everyone in the room and to the work moving forward. And facilities has been wonderful to help us move through with that. And to work with Songhees and Esquimalt Nation as rights holders to be able to make sure that as we're moving through that, it's that restart of that conversation. And there has been that acknowledgement of that. But I do think it's important to put it on record, just so that way we continue as people grow and communities grow, right? That it's captured on record. So then when that time comes and when we hear from the ministry, that we're continuing that work together. And so it's really exciting for us to be able to do that. And so I just want to put it on record for us as we continue to do the work together. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Okay, that's a lot. All right, seeing no further comments or questions. We'll just move to the next portion of this, which is, see. Curriculum. I'll go back to you, yeah.
Okay, so, Hilltown Elementary Green Infrastructure Project update. This is a grant that the district of Saanich received, for a green infrastructure and climate resiliency demonstration project. And a portion of that grant was earmarked for Hilltown Elementary, to create a green corridor. And what they will be doing is incorporating a rain garden, planting of trees and plants, and potentially an outdoor classroom if enough funding is received. The whole intention of this project is to reduce the heat and mitigate flooding and cut carbon emissions in the Tilson neighborhood. And so on March 11th, there was an open house that was held jointly with the District of Saanich at the school. And it was held to gather feedback from the neighbors and from the public and families attending the school on the proposed design for the outdoor exterior landscape. And at the same time, we also launched an online survey. So we could collect feedback from anyone who didn't want to leave written feedback at the open house or wasn't able to attend to provide feedback that way. And so included in the agenda package today is the Hilltown Elementary School Engagement Report. And it includes all of the feedback from the open house and from the survey. And this information is presented publicly, but we'll also be reviewing the feedback with the District of Saanich in review of the design, finalizing everything before they move forward. So it's here for information.
Okay, thank you. And I've got a question that I don't know if it's Molly or Trina. Of this project, which sounds so wonderful, what will have the biggest impact? Because the grant was around climate action. What of the things that are going to happen would affect that?
Affect the project or affect?
No, the project, from what I read, the grant that Saanich got had a climate focus. Of the things that are going to take place, which one do you think would have the largest impact?
I would say learning students are gonna get at it and just they're gonna be part of the learning in the classrooms and they're also gonna be part of the planting of the trees. So we've got facility staff that are ready to plant the many trees. So they're gonna be part of it from beginning to end and then that caring for them.
Perfect, yeah, thank you. Any questions before we move on our table? No, I'm gonna move to E2D, the monthly financial report.
So included in your agenda package is the monthly financial report for March 2025. In there, it's comparison numbers for March 2024. These were run after month end, and at that time they were reported at the Operations Policy Planning Committee meeting. The March 2025 numbers were also run after month end. The budget that's included in this report is the amended budget plus any changes that have been made since then. And the actuals are for July 1st to March 31st, so 9-month period. And if you're looking at the total revenue on page 66 of the report, the column that has a percentage in it, that's the amount of revenue that's budgeted but not yet received. And in the current year, we're looking at 27%, which is the same as last year. So we're also at 27%. And if you want to look at the expenses, page 68 of the agenda package, the percentage for expenses represents the amount of budget that's still available to spend. And so in the current year, we're looking at 31%, which is also exactly the same as where we were at the end of last year. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Thank you, Katrina. That takes us to 25-26 budget update. There was a budget development survey that was sent out. And right now, it's just in your package for information. We will be, as I said at the beginning, we'll be looking at that when we move forward to create a process for next year. Do you have any comments that you want to make on that? So quietly says, would you like me to do the agenda item list? So yes, we'll go back to that one. Yeah, the monthly budget change report. I jumped right to app. Go back on my. Thank you.
It's very exciting.
Usually.
But, yes, so included in the agenda is the budget change report for March. This report highlights any significant changes that have been made since the amended budget was approved. Significant changes to expenses, and we include all changes to revenue. So there are a few new items since last month under operating, starting on page 69. We got some additional grants coming in, 21,000 for South Island Partnership. So these are enhancement grants and scholarships through the Pathways and Partnerships Department. 36,000 in miscellaneous donations and revenue. And also an additional 10,000 grant from BC Hydro Energy Manager. So this is additional funding that we received when our energy manager meets energy efficiency target. So we were successful with that and got some addition. On page 70, special purpose, we have a new grant that's come in. It's the National School Food Program. This is a federal grant. It's announced quite a while ago. $86,000 our school district received for 24-25, and there will be more coming next year as well. And lastly, capital, page 71, just reflects increases in interest income on our two capital reserves. So local capital is up by 10,000 from last month, and ministry restricted capital is up by 39,000 from last month. And that's it for that report.
Perfect, thank you. Well done. F, 25-26 budget update. Do you have make any comments about F?
I did have some notes, but
Please.
it's mainly just highlighting what is in the memo. Just that we did send the link to the survey out by email to the 4 houses, representative 4 houses, our education partners, BBDBA, also directly to all parents, guardians, caregivers, our district leadership team, and everyone who attended the internal budget working sessions, and also the parent budget session that we held during spring break. And then the link was also sent out in a media release, sent to local media, but also posted on our social media sites and our district website. I'll just highlight, we did receive 40 responses back, 75% of those were from parents, so that's fantastic. The rest was from our community members, from board houses and from staff. Unfortunately, we didn't get any student responses on that one, so. And of the staff responses, we also asked which employee groups they were from, and it was fairly evenly spread across. We didn't get any responses from PP grade 2, but we did get some great responses there. And yeah, I'll just highlight too that we received a lot of responses. We tried to categorize them in the memo, directly responding to the questions that were asked, but a lot of people had feedback related to the budget itself. So instead of just removing it and having it not available, there is a section in the memo called other comments, so they've been captured there. So you can see there are some recommendations for where to look for savings for next year, different suggestions on the process that maybe just didn't fit the question exactly. There were some comments that weren't related to the budget or the budget process at all, and we did remove those things.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions at all around the table for our secretary treasurer? Right, you see, very thorough. The next portion of this agenda is F, which is question period, and I do have some questions. I might need some support with some of the answers. Are there any more there?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. I'm gonna read the first one. At a special budget meeting on April 6th or April 8th, I asked a two-part question, two very similar sounding questions, in fact, about school cash online that had two very different implications. With the purpose of question period as outlined in bylaw 9360.01 in mind, my question today has two parts, but with implications are that are the same. Why were my questions not read out loud as they were written for the public to hear? And the second question is, why were my questions not included in the meeting minutes? I might have to go to Secretary Treasurer, but what I will say, and I don't remember which meeting it was, because we had quite a few, but when the questions came in, and if there were a lot of questions that were exactly the same or were on a similar topic that would have had the same answer, I kind of paraphrased and said, we had a lot of questions come in about X or Y, and gave an answer rather than reading every one of them out. And as far as the answer to the question not included in the meeting minutes, I'm not sure I can answer that, but if the person that wrote this question would like to follow up and have a conversation about how things could be improved, I'd be happy to do that too. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'll just
Oh, here's the question.
yeah, there's a reference to bylaw 9360.01, which is in relation to general meetings of the board. So those are the regular scheduled board meetings that are held every month. There's a set agenda for those. So question period is a part of those agendas. And yes, there is also a bylaw around question period that says that if the question is answered in the meeting, it will be recorded in the minutes. If it can't be answered, the response will be provided to the person asking the question. This might just be a technicality, but because April 8th was a special meeting, it's not considered a general meeting of the board. The agenda doesn't follow that same, and that bylaw doesn't apply. But I think what we tried to do for those meetings is we opened up the online form to have people submit questions. What we realized on April 8th is that some people had been submitting questions through question period and we didn't realize it. So we were trying to, in the meeting, answer the questions as best as possible. Yeah. So I think the intention was that they wanted those questions asked and answered in that meeting, but it just was the different process.
Thank you. And again, to the person who wrote the question, we'd be happy to have a chat there's another question that's just come in. When will the regular fee schedules required under section 82.6 be provided to PACS for feedback?
Can reply generally, we're currently having conversations right now about the schedule of fees. I would say historically, schools have done their schedule of fees and published them in a variety of different ways. For 25-26, we're working hard to make that consistent across all of the schools and have a standard schedule of fees. About the timing of when it'll go to PACS, and I don't think we've gotten there yet. But what we do know is that it needs to be available, I guess, to parents and students prior to the start of the school year. And so my thought is that we would have to have that work done in PACS well in advance of the end of this school year, because I don't think that work will be done in the summer. So I would say over the next month would be my best guess. But I don't have a firm answer.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to G, public disclosure of in-camera items. G1 and G2 are in your package. G3, I'm going to read because it was, a motion was just passed at the in-camera meeting, so I'm disclosing it at this one, which is that the school district has entered into an agreement with Garth Homer Society to license a port of SJ Willis, a portion of SJ Willis Education Center located on Topaz Avenue, while the new Garth Homer Center is, for belonging is being built. So they're going to be leasing some space at SJ Willis, while they're getting a new space that they can move into. This has been, out in the public. Garth Homer was very keen to get the information out. We were quite aware of this, and it's just us making it public that we are in this contract with Garth Homer. And moving on to H, new business. There isn't any new business. And before we adjourn, I just want to mention again how nice it is to be back face to face. And to see people in the audience, to see the students that we had the opportunity to celebrate, and to be in a space that we participated in protocol this morning. And on your way out, if you would make sure you don't step on the cedar and think about what happened in here and leave the space. And I think that's really an important part of everyone's obligation being here after 5 years, and that we've had a ceremony this morning that's incredibly important to this building, to everyone here. So thank you for your attention and thank you for coming today. And if you have any comments, I'm going to hang around a little while after the meeting. If not, enjoy your evening. And if you're a hockey fan, enjoy all the Canadian games. Thank you so much.